Hello everybody, Nature Nancy here, and welcome to the next episode called Whose Scat Is That? So whether you live in the city or in the country, there are clues in nature that tell us a lot about the creatures that share our habitat with us. Those clues include footprints or tracks, and also the poop that animals leave behind. Now in the scientific world, we call that poop scat. So today we're going to learn about some of the tracks and the scat of the animals that share our habitat in southern Ontario. So the 5 animals we're going to learn about today are the raccoon, the white-tailed deer, the beaver, the red fox, and the coyote. So this is how the game's going to work. Each contestant will have a chance to match a front and hind footprint to the appropriate animal, as well as the scat that matches each animal. Now let's meet our first contestant. Welcome to Whose Scat Is That? Hi, what's your name?
Sally Soil.
Ah, Sally, where are you from?
Right here.
Great. All right, are you ready to play?
Yes.
Okay, let's get going. Looking at some of Sally's choices, she got a lot of things right, but she got stumped in the scat area. I'd like to welcome the second contestant of Whose Scat Is That? Hello, sir.
That's me. Oh, sorry.
What's your name?
Hi, I'm Dirtman Dan, and I know all of my tracks and scats.
Here we go. Well, Dirtman Dan, our second contestant, did quite well. He definitely knew his tracks, but he also had some difficulty on the scat. So let's see if we can match it up ourselves. And so our first animal that we're going to look at is the raccoon. And as you can see, the raccoon front and hind foot are very different. The front feet have long fingers and sharp claws, and the back foot's quite much bigger. And their scat often looks like a small dog's, but can vary. Next, we're going to look at the beaver. And as you can see, the beaver tracks, this is their front foot and this is their hind foot, and often they're hard to find because they live in the water. And the hind foot is webbed for all the swimming that they need to do, and you can see the front foot's quite different with its 5 long fingers. Its scat is often cylindrical and full of sawdust because they eat wood. So the coyote tracks are much smaller than you'd think they'd be. They're even smaller than a dog of their size. And the front foot is bigger than the hind foot. Its scat is tubular, just like that of a fox, and they often use it to mark territory or to send messages to other animals. So the red fox tracks, I'm going to show you to compare with the coyote tracks, are very similar in size to the coyote tracks. And their scat is tubular as well, and it also is used to mark territory, send messages to other animals. And the final animal we're going to look at is the white-tailed deer. And Dirtman Dan and Sally Soil got these both correct. As you can see, they're very different from the other animals with their hooved feet. And you can see the front is slightly smaller than the rear. And you can see that the scat is in pellet form. And generally speaking, these pellets are in a bigger pile when they're out in the woods. So I have a couple activities for you to do this week. Number 1, if you go out for walks or you're in your yard, I want you to look for evidence of tracks or scat that's out there. And one of the things I want you to know is that scat is something that should never be touched. It possibly could carry disease, and I don't want you to get sick. So make sure if you find scat, you just look at it. The second thing I'd like you to do is to create your own tracks. And you're either going to need a bit of mud or wet dirt, or you're going to need some sand. So find a patch of soil or sand and just take your hand and make sure that the soil is nice and moist. And what you're going to do is you're going to make your print in that sand or dirt. The other thing you could do is create or attempt to create tracks of an animal. I use these rubber molds. This one is a wolf, and I press it in, but you yourself could make your own. So I'd like to thank our two contestants today that helped us learn about tracks and scat, Sally Soil and Dirtman Dan. But I've one final challenge for you both. I've got the hind and front paw of a certain kind of animal, and I would like you to try to identify it.
Oh, obviously, yellow perch. I've got it. I've won. Haha, you didn't stand a chance. Woohoo!
It's definitely a wolf. Yes, Sally, these are wolf prints. Thank you from Nature Nancy, and see you next time.
Charlie, what is your role in this movie? Anything in particular? Oh, I like chewing sticks too.